Exterior lighting is a great way to make your home look awesome at night, and I'm going to show you 3 super simple ways you can step up your lighting game for cheap. The first 2 things are so easy that they will literally take you 30 seconds to install. Seriously. And the third thing is something that would cost thousands of dollars if you hired someone to do it. But I'm going to show you step by step how to DIY it for under 200 bucks. Okay, so the first upgrade has to do with the lights that your home already has. These fixtures are usually found alongside garage doors or next to front doors or other entry points. The problem is if you forget to turn them on, your house looks dark and vacant, and a lot of times you aren't home when it gets dark, like in the winter when it gets dark really early. You can get timers or use various home automation products, but I think the easiest and cheapest solution is to just replace the bulb itself. This is a dusk to dawn bulb, and it has a light sensor called a photocell. That's that little red thing. When it gets dark enough in the evening, the bulb will automatically turn on. Pretty cool. It'll stay on all night, and in the morning when the sun comes up, it'll automatically turn off. So from inside the house, the switch from the light stays on all the time. All you have to do at the fixture is unscrew the old bulb and install the dusk to dawn bulb, and you're done. I told you this upgrade was easy and would take you about 30 seconds, right? Now I'm using Philips bulbs here, and I like them because it's a trusted brand, and I've seriously been using these exact bulbs for over 6 years with no issues whatsoever. They run about $10 a bulb, which is expensive, but I've had really good luck with them, so I think it's worth it. There's some Amazon ones that look pretty good too at a cheaper price point, and I'll have both of them linked in the video description for you. I can't make a lighting video without talking about light color. In lighting, the Kelvin scale is used to describe the color temperature of light, which affects the appearance and ambiance of illumination. Lower Kelvin values like 2700 to 3000 K produce a warm yellowish light that mimics candlelight or incandescent bulbs. It's great for cozy places like homes, restaurants, or relaxing areas. Higher Kelvin values like 5000 to 6500 produce cool bluish white light that mimics daylight. It's good for garages, workspaces, or anywhere requiring high visibility. In my opinion, way too many people use bulbs with higher Kelvin values, and it makes their home lighting look really harsh and industrial. Here's an example. Both of these bulbs are LED, but the one on the left is a 5000 K daylight bulb, whereas the one on the right is my Philips 2700 K warm light bulb. The difference is huge, and it's all personal preference, so live your life, but I wouldn't use anything over 3000 K for exterior lighting on a home. The next upgrade is almost as easy as screwing in a light bulb, and it's adding solar-powered landscape lights. I got these spotlights on Amazon, and the most common complaint about solar lights is that they aren't very bright, but these are actually pretty good. The spotlights have a stake in them, and they just push into the ground, so installation is super simple. From there, just adjust the light housing to be at the right angle and adjust the tilt of the solar panel to get the most sun. I'm using these under huge trees, and they still somehow get enough light during the day to light up for several hours each night. What I really like about solar is how easy it is to put them anywhere. I have a big yard with a long driveway, and I'm using these lights at the very end of the driveway to light up a few trees. It would be a lot of work and expense to trench a line over 200 feet if I wanted to actually get power out there. These lights are quick and easy, and I've had these exact ones for nearly 5 years, and for cheap lights, I can't believe they still work so good. You can see the protective coating is totally worn off on this one's solar panel, but it still works just fine. One mistake that I see a lot of people make with these is they buy a super big value pack of them, and then they line their driveway up and down both sides super close together. You're not trying to land airplanes like a runway at an airport. Whether it's a driveway, sidewalk, or just a path, you just need a few of the lights. You don't have to outline the whole area. Much like my light color temperature tip, it's all personal preference, so do what you like. However, you won't see any professional company doing the runway look, and it screams, I did this myself. Poorly. Those first 2 tips are quick and easy, but this third one is what will really elevate your home to the next level and add a ton of curb appeal. Adding low voltage landscape lighting is not as hard as you think, and a few path lights combined with some spotlights really changes the vibe of a property. Even if you haven't done any wiring before, I can assure you that you can do this. It's low voltage, so it's not really dangerous. And if you can put the twisty tie on a bag of bread, you've got all the skills you need to do this install. And I'm gonna break it down step by step for you. You can buy complete kits on Amazon, and I'll have links to the exact stuff I'm using, but all the kits are pretty much the same. The first component is the transformer, and that converts high voltage your house uses into low voltage, which is better for this light duty application. It just plugs into an exterior outlet, and your house probably has several, so just find the nearest one closest to where your lights will be. On the backside, there's a wattage rating, and you just have to make sure that the number of lights doesn't exceed roughly 80% of the transformer's capability. Each lighting fixture will have a wattage rating, probably between 3 and 5 watts. My transformer is rated for 60 watts, and 80% of that would be 48. If each fixture is 5 watts, that means I can run about 9 fixtures. Transformers come in different sizes. 100 watt, 200 watt, or even 300 watt isn't uncommon, and you could run a whole lot more lights off some of those bigger units. This particular transformer also has a photocell that plugs into it, and if you remember the vocab from earlier in the video, a photocell is simply a light sensor that will allow the lights to turn on automatically when it gets dark. On the front of the transformer, you can see the different settings. There's off, on, and then auto, which will be your dusk to dawn setting. But then there's a few others too, and that's the number of hours to stay on after it gets dark. So if you don't want your lights on staying on all night, you can choose the 4H setting, for example, and that will keep the lights on for 4 hours after it gets dark. If sunset is at 8, then the lights will stay on until midnight and then automatically shut off. You'll need a spool of low voltage wire, and your kit will probably include some. This is called your main wire. 14 and 16 gauge refers to the size or the thickness of the wire, and those two wire sizes are the most common for landscape lighting. I'm using 14 gauge because it's a little thicker and heavier duty. If you have longer runs, you'll want the thicker wire because it'll carry current better. Another important thing to know about wire is that one side is smooth with writing on it, and the other side has ridges. This is used to help identify positive and negative, and the smooth side with the writing is normally the positive, while the side with the ridges is generally the negative. This comes into play when you are using LED fixtures where polarity might matter. You'll always want to connect similar wires together, so smooth wires with writing always get connected to other smooth wires with writing. A screwdriver and a wire strippers are basically the only tools you need for this project, and if you've ever used a wire strippers, I'll show you real quick. This is a very basic example of this tool, but it works just fine. Find a notch with a 14 next to it because that's the size of wire I'm using, 14 gauge. Place the wire in the notch and close the jaws. The goal here is to cut through the insulation, but not actually cut the wires. Pull off the insulation and see how you did. If you notice cut strands of wire coming off with the insulation, pick a bigger notch next time so that doesn't happen. Once you get the insulation off both wires, twist the strands together and you've got a wire ready to connect. The first connection to make will be the main wire to the transformer itself. This is done by loosening the screws on the terminal, sliding the wire in, and then tightening the screws. Pretty easy. Attaching a lighting fixture to the main wire is almost just as easy. Strip back the wire on both the fixture and the main wire to prepare for the connection. All I'm going to do is twist the wires together and secure them with a wire nut. But it's not just any wire nut. This is a special weatherproof wire nut, and you can see it's filled with a sealant that will help seal out water so that the connection never corrodes and fails. These come in a number of different styles, but I find these basic ones to be pretty good. Here's a clip of an old connection that I made 6 years ago, and I'm pulling it apart to show you how well everything stayed sealed up, even while being outdoors for many years. The wires are still really clean and it looks brand new. So I think these basic wire nuts work great. If you want to take it a step farther, there's these sealant filled tubes that you can get. You make your wire nut connection and then you shove the whole thing down into the tube, perfectly sealed from the outdoor environment. And just check out that sealant spooging out. Close the flap and that connection is ready to be buried. There's one more type of connection that you have to know about, and that's adding a light fixture along a run of main wire. So here's the main wire, and you start by simply cutting it where you want to add your fixture. Strip back the wires like before on both sides of the main wire you just cut and the light that you're going to add to it. Now pretend you were just going to reconnect the main wire back together. You'd grab the two smooth wires with writing and twist a wire nut up. But before you do that, grab one of the wires coming off the light fixture and add that in there too. So take the 3 wires, twist them together, followed by a wire nut over the top. Now do the same on the other side and you're good to go. One easy way to do an install is to run your main wire first. So I'm starting at the transformer and snaking it along the area I'm planning on putting my lights. Then I'll come back and simply cut the main wire everywhere I'm going to be adding a fixture. 2 spotlights on either side of the tree and a total of 4 path lights. Once everything is connected, make sure it all lights up and make any final adjustments at night before burying the wire. Or if you're like me, go with the surface mounted wire where you just lay it in the mulch and come back and bury it later. Except I never do, because why would I finish a project when I can start 5 more? If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I post homeowner based DIY content all the time.